So, what I'd like to say in these 15 minutes is the situation that we found in this group in Enner a year and a half ago when there was a big organizational change. How we've proceeded in this past year, approximately, to analyze the situation and quickly the measures that we're trying to implement to advance and improve. So quickly, what we're talking about in the NL group, it's implemented, it's present in 40 countries, but the most important countries are the ones that you can see here. So starting with Italy, which is the origin of the NL group, Spain and Portugal, which are the second countries in importance. Also Latin America, mainly the 5 countries where Endesa was already present, and Eastern Europe, Slovakia, Romania. You can see that we're looking at geographical areas that are very diverse, with distinct cultures and with distinct histories. So, and in the end, you'll see that we find complete diversity in solutions or different pathways in activity. About a year and a half ago, approximately, there was a very big organizational change where we, among other things, we generated a global service unit, Global Business Services, GBS. This unit comprehends a very important variety of services. It includes, among other things, facility management and general services, real estate, security, and many other activities. Concerning FM and management and real estate management, you can see in the vertical line of each area, those would be the responsible for operations, but I'm responsible for the transversal management for real estate. And this new organization, in the first place, wants to assure the continuity of the business. So this aim was very important. In this second place, start to advance in trying to homogenize the models of service provision with a significant cost reduction, taking account the crisis we're still in Europe, and especially in Spain and Italy. So this aim logically had to appear. So how do we initiate in the analysis of the situation in this past year? We're working along parallel lines. So we reviewed existing contracts, and one of the principal results was the situation of our territorial and functional integration of those. Parallelly, we made a first market description to try to understand the evolution in facility management and service provision, and also the economic model, or the different economic models that are being used. And finally, we also did an internal benchmarking where we compared the different components of what the management model is. That would be the totality of the activities that we undertake. And the purchase analysis that was realized we can see the functional and the geographical reach of our sales. You can see more or less the situation of each country that we were mentioning before. As special cases and singular cases, we have Argentina and Slovakia, which are integrated. Spain is in an intermediate situation, and the rest of countries, European and South American, are in a situation where there's less integration, less geographic and functional integration. And looking at the trends, what we could detect as that was present in all models is that the trend is to integrate more and more of the contracts, but within a certain order. And that order you can see here on the horizontal line and the vertical line. This means that, first of all, we integrate the contracts in the functional manner, trending towards a more integral contract inside the specific country. And once this has been covered, this first phase has been covered, we make the jump to regional integration or global integration. It's not always this way, but this is what providers are telling us that's logical because of synergy, and operational costs are all in this horizontal line of integration. And with economic models, we see different solutions. All risk models, for example, they usually don't include reposition because of obsolescence. Pretty common model is preventive control, or as we do here in Spain, we have preventive control plus a corrective, but it's not materials, it's just the models that we can observe. We have reached the conclusion that contracts should be independently run from services. And in regards to internal benchmarking, we find a total diversity of situations. If we look at the internal organization and resources in organization, we find that the countries that you can see on the slide, Italy and Spain, are in the diagonal line on this graph, which is logical. You can see Italy and Spain. The rest of the countries are in other parts of the graph. A high level of integration is correlated to low levels of human resources. So we don't have that level of homogeneity in all those countries. Customer service, which influences how we manage our relationship with the providers. And we've looked at the most important aspects in this customer relations aspect, taking into account the customer's vision as a service prescriptor and also as a user. And they're different concepts. So we've analyzed how the services have been received, how budgets are defined and approved for space assignment, the role of the customer if they intervene in certain operations, how we manage incidences and costs and billing. We have all types of situations. There are countries where the client is very much involved in the management, to others where the service catalog is defined, budget is approved, and the facility management unit is basically independent to execute the budget. So the client isn't really that much involved. Those are the both extremes, but we have everything in between. In terms of real estate, seeing if other companies in the group are occupying the buildings is another complexity issue in our customer relation. And it has larger importance than it seemed at first. As to provider management, we have two different models. Basically, we have the preventive model with a corrective system, and also a corrective system, but with human resources, but not material. These are different modes. Also, technical equipment is different. There aren't two that are the same. In general, it's different, but it's especially poor or deficient, and it's a characteristic aspect. So our service levels are different, especially in their definition. The definition is lacking, and the control systems that we have to verify how the provider executes the contracted services is also relatively poor. So in these aspects, we found that we have a long way still to go. And when we try to analyze and compare the efficiency of the different models in management, that's when we had the most problems. We've analyzed the occupation efficiency. The results is that, especially in Europe, in Italy and Spain, our efficiency in building occupation is bad. And there's historical reasons for that. We have more or less the same buildings we had 40 or 50 years ago. But we have half the staff that we had half a century ago, so they're not correctly occupied. So internal resources efficiency, we have different levels of resource assignment, so it's also different. When we try to look at the total cost in unitarian terms, we see many difficulties. And these arise because the different models that we have give us a different perspective on what maintenance is, extraordinary maintenance, so it's difficult to homogenize. We also have different area measurement units, so it's also hard to streamline these. So even though we've gotten to calculate different data, we're not very comfortable with them. So trying to simplify, since there's not much time, the measures that we're trying to implement tend to optimize the total cost of the service. And to optimize this cost, we're trying the three big chapters that we see here. Unitarian cost optimization for the services provided in buildings, optimization of surface, and also an optimization of the control systems. Each one of these also has different sectors. We're going to see them right now. In regards to Unitarian cost optimization, the first thing we're doing is we're trying to optimize the contracting model. Here's some of the guidelines for contracts. We're doing in that aspect similar work to what our colleague in administration also talked about. In this model, we're trying to define a single model for all countries, and KPIs and SLAs that should be common. We're going to also launch an RFI to get to know the market in each country, to look at the situation in each country. And this same year, we're going to have a pilot project in Spain. And we're going to have an integral contracting service for the whole country, and we're going to check a definition of the model that we're doing. And based on the results that we can get from this RFI and the pilot project in Spain, we'll adjust our model and establish a specific plan for each country that will also depend on the situation of the market in each country. Another point to optimize costs is to optimize internal resources, and this would be defining new dimensions for their staff and the plans necessary to reach our objectives. As to surface optimization, this is maybe the most important project that we're doing. It consists basically in analyzing city per city which buildings we have. We possess many in each city. We analyze the costs, if they've been leased or not, the expiration dates of the contracts, and all the etc. And with this set of data, to propose a solution that's more optimal for the future. These new solutions usually involve some kind of work, and if the project is economically viable, we'll have this optimization process. And at the same time, parallelly, we're working with new models in regards to assignation and space management, what we've called the smart office model, and we're developing a pilot in Rome. This pilot will be this year already operative, and we hope to have it. We hope to be able to analyze the results at the beginnings of next year, so we can adjust it and start to apply it in the rest, in other cities and our principal buildings in general. And getting to the last block for this measure is, in order to be able to manage all this, we need a common language and a support system, so we can apply all these slashes in a homogenized way and also an effective manner. These are the projects that we're developing. We're also selecting a new technical system that helps us manage everything. It's nothing particularly spectacular, but this is the work that we've been doing. And we hope to be able to just start obtaining good results at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. I'll also be available for any question. Thank you very much.